Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into a report from Splash Beverage Group, and let me tell you, it seems like they're having a little too much slash and not enough beverage staying afloat. Get ready for a bumpy ride as we decode why they might be getting kicked off the stock exchange. Scroll Unity State Securities and Exchange. Come scroll, we're looking at a Form 8K report. This is basically a company's way of saying, hey, something important happened that our investors need to know about right now. Think of it as an urgent news flash from the corporate world. This report is dated April 7, 2025. Scroll, notice of delisting or failure to satisfy a continued listing, Law or standard scroll, Savia. NYSE American, which is a stock exchange, publicly announced that Splash Beverage Group might get kicked off the exchange. In simple terms, they might be delisted. This means their stock, the shares people can buy and sell, might not be traded on that exchange anymore. Scroll sections hen for referee A, I, and I say of the company guide scroll why. Well, the NYSE American has certain rules that companies need to follow to stay listed. These rules are in something called the NYSE American Company Guide. Splash Beverage Group couldn't prove they were following those rules. It seems they couldn't meet standards related to their finances. But hold on, it's not over yet. Splash Beverage Group has the right to appeal this decision. They can ask the NYSE American to review their case. This means they can argue why they should stay on the exchange. If they want to appeal, they have to do it by April 14, 2025. The company says it plans to appeal. They're going to try to fight it. While all this is happening, the company thinks their stock will continue to be traded on the NYSE American. So people can still buy and sell their shares for now, but after the appeal, the stock exchange will make a decision. They'll announce if they're going to move forward with kicking them off or if they'll let them keep trading. Keep in mind that if they do end up getting delisted, it will take some time before it is finalized. The stock exchange has to ask the Securities and Exchange Commission or SEC for permission to do this. This whole process with the appeal and the SEC could take a while. The company also put out a press release on April 7, 2025 about this whole situation. You can find a copy of it attached to this report. The report also includes some extra information called exhibits. One of them is the press release we just mentioned. There's a section called forward-looking statements. Here, the company is basically saying, hey, some of the things we're saying might not actually happen. They're giving themselves some wiggle room in case things change. They're saying that things like their plans to follow the stock exchange's rules might not work out. A number of issues and risks associated with the exchange. Now let's step back and take a broader view of Splash Beverage Group's situation. Getting a delisting notice is never a good sign. It suggests that the company is struggling to meet the basic requirements of being a publicly traded company. Think of it like this. It's like getting a warning from your landlord that you might be evicted because you haven't been paying your rent. The fact that they're appealing the decision shows they're not giving up without a fight. But it also means they know they're in trouble. Appeals are not always successful, and it is rarely successful when it comes to money. The big question is, can they convince the stock exchange that they can get their act together and follow the rules? The big issue here is that the company was unable to demonstrate that it had regained compliance with sections 1003 at T. Requires a company to have stockholders' equity of 2.L that ended section 10.7L3S in. It requires a company to have market capitalization of 15 million operations or net losses in 2 of its 3 most recent fiscal years. Section 2 of the APRI dollars, requires a company to have revenue of 6,000 holders equity of 210,000 section 193 AK, requires a company to have market capitalization of 15 million, requires a company to have market capitalization of $15 million or more. If it has sustained losses from continuing operations or net losses in 2 of its 3 most recent fiscal years, the company had 18 months to meet all of the above requirements and were unsuccessful, which is not good for investors. For investors, this is a risky situation. The stock price could go down if the company gets delisted. It could also be harder to buy and sell the stock. On the other hand, if the company wins the appeal, the stock price could go up. However, if this does occur, investors should make sure to sell because it won't last. What happens next depends on how the appeal goes. If the company loses, they'll likely get delisted. Their stock might then trade on a different, less well-known exchange or over-the-counter. This could make it harder for investors to buy and sell the stock. If they win, they'll get to stay on the NYSE American, but they'll still need to show that they can follow the rules. In short, this situation is a bit of a mess. Splash Beverage Group is in trouble with the stock exchange. Their future is uncertain. Investors should be careful and do their research before buying or selling their stock. Thanks for watching Corporate Decoder. If you found this helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if there are any other SEC filings you want me to decode.